Okay, today we are doing Chapter 11 review for the test upcoming. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the things that I think probably need reviewing. We'll do some practice problems. We'll do a practice problem from each. And then I'll pause, I'll explain it to you, and do a little learning. The ones that you don't understand, you can go back and watch a video on that skill and rewatch the video and redo some of the work if you need it. So, let's get started. First thing that we're going to review is putting digits in order. So your test question is going to be something like this. It's going to say, put those numbers from least to greatest. Hopefully, since we've already gone over this, you already know this. Now I want you to pause, and I want you to solve. Okay, so we're going from least to greatest. One way we can think about this is on a number line. And on your test, it's going to ask you to map some things on a number line and then compare them. Now, so let's start. If our number 0 is here and our positives are that way, negatives are that way, which number is going to come first? Which number is the least? Well, that number is going to be negative 21. That's going to be first. The reason is negative 21 is going to be the furthest backwards from 0. Be back there somewhere. Then the next one would have to be negative 2. It's negative 13, which would be somewhere over here, which is actually bigger than negative 21. Because the farther you go into the negatives, the bigger the digits are that are negative, the actual smaller the number is. And then we have, of course, 7 and 8. If you need help with that, go back to the ordering integers lesson, which was, I think, the first one in this chapter. Or go on YouTube and look for putting integers into order. Okay, next problem. Okay, the next kind of problem is going to give you something like this. It's going to say, give you a point like that, A. It's going to say, what quadrant is point A located? So, you should know this one, so pause and solve. Okay, what you should have written down is it is in quadrant 3. A little reminder, we use this one the most because that's where if we have two positives, so that's quadrant 1. Quadrant 2, now this is a thing, it actually goes counterclockwise. So quadrant 2 is to the left, 3 is down there, and 4 is the bottom right. So point A was in quadrant 3. So that's the answer to that one. And if you didn't memorize which quadrant was which, you need to do that. Now the next one that we're going to do is we are going to do a couple graphing problems. So what I want you to do is I want you to graph the point B. Oh, what's going on here? Graph the point B, and it is at negative 3, 2. Pause and graph that. Okay, remember the first number tells us to go back and forth, left or right. And since it is a negative, we're actually going to go left. So we're going to go back 3. The second number tells us to go up 2. So we're going to go, or I guess it tells us to go up or down. And since it's positive, we're going to go up 2. And so our point is going to be right there. That's point B. Remember, you always start at this center point. Sometimes students want to start up here and go down. That's not what we want to do. I don't know what is going on right here. This program is still throwing me for a loop. So anyways, you go left and right first and then up and down second. So that can help you out. Now here's just doing it the opposite way. I want you to write down the coordinates for point C. Remember, they need to be in this form. Okay? Pause and solve. Okay, the first thing we need to do is we need to determine, first number always tells us left or right. So we're going to go right 1, and since we're going to the right, that means it's positive and we're only going 1, so our coordinate is 1. The next one, it tells us to go up or down. Now, we're going down, and how many are we going down? 3. And so since we're going down, it's going to be negative 3. So we're going to go down 1. We're going to go right 1 and over 3, and that brings us to our point C. So the coordinates should have been 1, comma, negative 3. Now if you had problems with either one of those, go back and watch the video from earlier in the chapter. Okay, the next one is going to have to do with adding and subtracting positive and negative numbers. So it's going to say write the addition problem modeled on the number line. So it's going to give you a problem like this. Minus 3 plus 6. So I want you to write down what that problem is and what is the answer. Pause and solve. Okay. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going minus 3, and then you're adding a positive 6 to that. Now if you wrote it 6 plus negative 3, that would be all okay as well. Although since we went backwards 3 first, I would prefer it this way. You're going to get the same answer either way. And so then your answer is going to be, look where it ends. It ends on 1, 2, 3. And the reason for further problems, the reason is when you have one number that's negative and one number that's positive, think about it as tug of war. Which one's going to pull further, the 6 or the 3? The 6 is. So even though we go backwards 3, that 6 is still going to pull us back positive. So the answer is going to be the bigger digit. So the answer is going to be positive. And then all it's going to do is that number 3 is the difference. We're going to take away that 3, but we're still left with 3 over here. So that's the answer. Alright, now let's just do a basic one. I'm going to do the same thing here. Negative 6 plus 11. No need to graph, just pause and solve. Okay, so again, they're pulling different ways. The 11 is pulling us positive, the 6 is pulling us negative. So which one's pulling further? The 11 is. So our answer is going to be positive. Then we have to find the difference between 11 and 6. 11 minus 6 is 5, so our answer is 5. The reason is because that 11 is going to pull us 11 this way, and that 6 is going to pull us back this way. So what the difference is how far it's going to actually be forward. So if we went 11 forward, but then 6 back, we're left with this 5 still that we're positive. So that's why our answer is positive. Okay, let's try one more like that. Negative 3 minus 7. Pause and solve. Alright, so on this one, they're both pulling to the negative side. Now, if they're both pulling the same way, they're not fighting each other, they're going the same way. So if we go backwards 3, if you notice that my handwriting is messy, it's because I'm using my finger today. If we go backwards 3 and then we go backwards another minus 7, well then we're just going to add those two digits together. We're going to be 10, and we're backwards 10. So our answer is going to be negative 10. And then the last problem. Let's say solve for negative 4x if x is equal to negative 3. Alright, pause and solve. Okay, whenever it says solve for 4x and it gives you the x, all we're going to do is plug that number in. So 4x means 4 times x, right? So all we're going to do is, instead of x, we're going to do 4 times x is 4 times negative 3. Now we have negative 4 times negative 3. Now, 4 times 3 is going to be 12. Now here's the important part. Those two negatives are going to cancel out. If there's only one, it would have been negative, but since there's two, they cancel out. Alright. Last problem I want you to solve for your teacher the next time. Take this problem right here and be able to solve it to your teacher tomorrow. Negative 3 times 7. Solve that one for tomorrow or next week or whenever. Alright, I will speak to you all later. I'm going to make this exactly 10 minutes. 3, 2, cats, bye.